This is Chick Dixie with Scrappin' in the City, here to show you how to make a simple rolled flower, like on this card. So we're going to put it on this very cute little card. And the first thing we're going to do is start with a 4x4 piece of paper. This is the side that I want to show, so I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to draw a spiral. And because I am right-handed, I am going to draw a spiral in clockwise motion. And when we get to cutting it, you'll understand why. So if you're left-handed, do it the opposite. And the important thing to remember is to try to keep your layers or your spirals about the same size as you spiral out. I'm going to do about 4 spirals out, and I'm going to end up with about a 3-inch spiral. Nothing special, it's just hand drawn. It helps me with my cutting to have a guideline. And now you see as I start cutting, it's easier to cut on the outside of the line instead of trying to cut backwards, which is what happens if you draw the spiral the way that you naturally want to draw it. So try to keep your cuts smooth because this is your top edge that you're cutting. So turn the paper, not the scissors. That's what I say to myself every time. Paper, not the scissors. It's a good way to use scraps because you can do really small flowers with really small scraps. And you'll see when you get to the end here, I did leave almost a complete circle in the center, and you want to leave that there. This is the foundation that you will glue your flower to. So I'm just going to kind of leave it right there on the end and come back and just chop it off. Alright, now we're ready to roll, and I'm going to show you this quilling pen. Probably can't see it on camera, but it has a little slit. Sorry, it has a little slit in here that you slide the paper in, so it makes it really easy to spin the paper. You can use a pencil. It takes a little more patience. Helps if you can see. Here we go. So as close to the edge as you can get it, and then just start twisting it. And you want to keep it tight just because it keeps it neat and it helps to control it. And it twists up pretty quickly with this quilling pen. And I will get to the end and just have my little circle left. And I'm going to pull the whole thing off and tuck that circle underneath and then just let it go. It'll unroll and I can just play with it until it gets to the size that I want it. And then looking back at the card, I can see that I want about 1.5 inches. And if I wanted those nice crisp edges, that's the way that I would glue it down. I would then come in with my glue and just put a glue dot there and go for it. But this one has a little bit of a ruffled edge, and I'm going to show you how I do that. Takes a mouse pad. This is the opposite side of the mouse pad, and you want to spray it with water. Normally I would have done this when it was still flat just to get good coverage. You don't want it sopping wet, but it does need to be wet. I'm going to unroll it so that you can see better what I do. And the reason we get it wet is because it relaxes the fibers, and so they crinkle up better without tearing. And I'm going to straighten up this corner a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take the small end of this tool, and I'm just going to run it along the edge. And you can see that it's just kind of crinkling that edge. So just kind of skipping it along. It's not important to get it exactly right. You're just adding some texture and some shape to the edge. Into my quilling pen and roll it back up. So if you were doing this from the beginning, you would only roll it once. You would wet it, shape it with this tool, and then roll it up. Another thing that you can do also is when it's still flat, you can ink the edges, and so you don't get the white edges. Some people like the white edges, some people like the red edges. And when the paper's wet, you kind of have to play with it a little bit more than when it's dry, but that's about the size that I want it. So I'm going to pull in, I like liquid glue, and Glossy Accents is my preferred glue, and so I'm just going to stick glue on that circle that we had, a good amount of it, and then we're going to press all of the edges on the bottom into it. It's wet, so it allows me a little bit of time to play with it, get it the way that I want it, and then just kind of press it into that glue until it gets sticky. All right. I'm going to bring in my card front, and you can see we're going to just stick it right on top of this. This is the sheet that I have pulled it from. This is Echo Park, this and that. And you can see it's just a sheet of 12 journaling cards. They're 4x3. Make really cute cards. And so I am duplicating this in a 3D form. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down leaves, which I have taken one of these Prima paper flowers and sprayed it with the English Ivy Glimmer Mist, any good leafy green that you like, and then cut it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and see how I might want to place these and then start gluing things down. And I am trying to kind of cover up what's there. And then we probably have enough glue to add the little stick pin in. And we would just add it to a card back and it's finished. This is Dixie with City Chicks.